This is 3.10 or 3.10 using percent. So the definition of percent means per 100. And if you think about a dollar, how many cents are in a dollar? There's 100 cents, 100 pennies in a dollar. So it's something just to kind of have that in your head, that cents, per cent, per cent. So remember, cent is 1 penny, and there's 100 in a dollar. So let's look at this problem. If we had 35%, how could we write that as a fraction? Well, percent means per 100. So that means per 100, and we have 35. Okay? Let's look at some problems where we want to write them as a decimal. So when we're looking at a percent and we're writing it to a decimal, we're going to move our decimal to the left 2 places. So right now your decimal's right there. In order to write it as a decimal, no percent, you got to move it 2 places. So now this is new home, 0.48. So your decimal's right here. Move it 2 places, and it looks like we have 1.45. So changing from that percent to a decimal. Your decimal's here, moving it 1, 2 spots. Oops, got to fill it in with zeros. We get 0.0003. Same thing here. Move it 2, 1, 2. Fill it in. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, I forgot my decimal. 5. So taking a number that's in percent form and writing it in a decimal form. So now we're going to look at fractions and how to write a fraction as a percent. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to divide the top number by the bottom number. So in the case here, it's going to be 3 divided by 4. See, 4 goes into 30 7 times, which gives us 28. Let's add a 0 and bring it down. 4 goes into 25. So now the other thing you want to think about is that if you ever have a 4 on the bottom like that, think about quarters in a dollar. There's 3 quarters in a dollar. I'm looking at 75 cents. Just kind of a trick for those of you that might catch that. All right, so let's divide here. 3 on top, so it goes in there, and the 8 goes on the outside. Can't divide by 3. 8 doesn't go into 3, but 8 would go into 30. 3 times. We get 24. 6 left over. Bring down a 0. So 8 can go into 60 7 times. So that's 56. 7 times 8 is 56. And it looks like we have a 4. Bring down that 0, and 8 goes into 40 50 times. So we're looking at 0.375. All right, here we go with this one. Find a spot where I can do my division. 24.5 is on the top, so I'm going to divide it by 5. Move your decimal up. 5 can't go into 2, but it goes into 24. 4 times 20. Left with a 4, bringing down the 5. 5 goes into 45. 9 times. So we're just doing the decimal right now. We're going to go back and do percent in just a moment. So now we take this. 0.02 is on the top. Divide by 500. Move your decimal up. Okay, 500 can't go into 0. Can't go into 0. Can't go into 2. I add another one. Can't go into 20. Can't go into 200. But it could go into 2,000. So 500 goes into 2,000 4 times. 4 times 0. 4 times 0. 4 times 20. So we get 0.00004. So now we made them into decimals. We want those decimals to be percents. And up above on the last section we were looking at, we were taking percents to decimals. So if we're taking decimals to percent, instead of moving to the left, we're going to move 2 to the right. So here we go. Move it 1, 2, and the new decimal's here, so I get 75%. Move it 1, 2, the decimal goes here, we get 37.5%. Move the decimal once, twice, and we get 490%. And the last one, move it to the right 2 places, 1, 2, we get 0.004%. You can write the 0 up front if you want, or you don't have to. So we're looking at 24 is what percent of 120. So we've got to set this up so that we can figure that out. And one thing you can do is you can do that the left is part over the whole equals the percent over 100. So we're looking at this. 24 is what percent of 120? 24 is a part of 120. We don't know how much, but it's a part of 20. So I'm going to put the 24 on top because it's the part. The whole is 120. I know the 100's the easy part. We don't know the percent. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to call this a P. And I'm going to do the solving like I did just a couple days ago. Multiply 24 times 100, 120p. So if I multiply this, I get 2400. And let's divide to get rid of the 120, so we have the p by itself. Here I get p equals, let's see, we can do that. 12 goes into 24 2 times, and 0 left over. So now we have 20. So that's 20% of 120 is 20. You need to go all the way back to the problem and look what you're looking for. 24 is what percent of 120? We're looking for the percent. The next one, okay, we're looking at 25% of what number is 15? So part over whole equals percent over 100. So the part, percent, okay, I'm going to go back and do what I can do. I know this is 100. This is percent, so I got that one down. So now I need to figure out which one's the part and the whole. What number is 15? 25% of what number is 15? So I'm taking a percentage of a number and getting 15. So that's your part. We don't know this part right here. Multiply. You get 1,500, 25x. Divide by 25. X equals, you get it yet? 60. So now we're doing the same thing. Part over whole equals percent over 100. So we got the percent part. Sometimes it's best if you just get at least the stuff you know. 7.5%. And then of 80. So we have 75% of 80. That's our whole. We're going to take a portion of that, taking 7.5% of the 80. So this is my whole, and I don't know my little part right here. Here we go. Let's cross and go. So 100x equals, and I don't mind if you're using a calculator. Just remember, if you can't do it by hand like you see me doing, then you need to be practicing, because you can't use a calculator on the tests for the district and the state. So here I did 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 8 is 40. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 8 is 56. Add that all up. So I'm looking at, and there's a decimal here, one number behind the decimal, one number behind the decimal. So I'm looking at 600. I can divide both sides by 100, and I get x is 6. Let's do one last one like that. Part over whole, and yes, I want you to write it down, equals percent over 100. Ooh, looks like we're looking for percent, so we should be okay there. See if we set it up. So we don't know our percent. We know it's 100. Of 40 is 15. So they're taking 40%, or excuse me, some percent of the beginning, that's the whole, 40, and it gives me 15. So now we're going to multiply. I'm going to change this to an x just so it might be easier for me. 40x equals 1,500. Divide by 40. X equals, so 4 goes into 15 3 times, which would be 12. and then 3 left over. When you do your division, you'll find that you get 37.5, and that is the percent that's needed. I go back and double check what percent. It is a percent. Got it.